Oh my gosh. The smell of these trees is amazing. Well, Gugu-Gee-ans, I feel like something spectacular is going to happen very soon. I have a feeling. Here we go. Oh boy.
Coffee and some bagels.
Hello and welcome, Gugu-Gee-ans. Last week's episode was about Horseshoe Bend near Page, Arizona. Next in my beautiful journey, I drove to the very tiny town of Central, Utah. It was an Earth holiday, Memorial Day weekend, and I was having trouble finding anything nearer to Bryce Canyon and to Zion, but this little Airbnb cabin near the noteworthy cities of St. George and Hurricane was a fun change-up from my regular trailer camping routine. Really fun little cabins. And they even had plenty of space for me to park the camper, right near the turkeys. Yes, that's right, turkeys. This little guy seems to be in no hurry. He's keeping a close side-eye glance on me. After you, miss. My first little excursion from Central was to Bryce Canyon National Park. It was a longer drive than Zion would be the next day, and it was an interesting non-direct route to get there, which covered all sorts of driving conditions and terrain. This area is Thunder Mountain Red Canyon. I love the evocative name. Here's my experience with Bryce Canyon Park getting in today. I got a very late start because I was very tired and decided to rest. Once I got here, they turned me around and said that I needed to get on a shuttle because the parking was full. And the shuttle looked very crowded. And I got a hint from someone that I should wait for about 45 minutes, that the parking would probably clear up in the park at that point. I think it would have been 2 in the afternoon, something like that. And so I did that. I went and got an ice cream and I walked around, and sure enough, went back, tried to go back through, and I was able to get into the park. And at about 1:45 p.m., traffic was allowed back into the park, and I drove into the visitor center. I talked to a ranger who gave me what turned out to be a great mission for the day. To park near the lodge, take the path along the rim of the canyon to Sunrise Point, and there take the Queen's Garden hike. Take the fork to Wall Street, and head up the steep switchback trail to the top. Next, drive to lookouts at Bryce Point and Paria View. And finally, if I had time, go out of the park to the north, and then head east, back into the park, and visit Mossy Cave Trail. Here we go. Here we are. Here's my approach to something spectacular. Just ahead. Here it comes. Oh boy. Wow. Beautiful colors, textures, and also the trees smell divine. My suggestion, Gugu-Gee-ans, is to refer to your brain feed and at the same time plug in an olfactory nodule for a sense-around experience. I am sitting right on the edge here. There's a bench. There's a bench here, but I am sitting right on the edge, and I don't feel comfortable usually at edges, but this bench I do feel quite comfortable sitting here. Oh look, there's people, little ant people down there. I think that's where I'm going to be soon. The colors. Such a beautiful combination of orangish rock with cream and dark brown bark with green treetops. And hoodoos. Hoodoos. My favorite new word.
Hoodoo.
Bryce Canyon has the highest concentration of hoodoos. What are hoodoos? I will talk more about that in a moment, but first let's check out this lookout at Sunrise Point. This will give us a great view of the Queen's Garden Trail, which I had been told about at the visitor center. Look at this. This is going to be amazing. I'm going to be able to be right down in the heart of it all. As I begin this beckoning trail, let's return to hoodoos. My brain feed gives me two theories of the etymology of this word. I'll tell you the first one now and the other one later. One theory is that it is from the Hausa language, which is spoken primarily in Nigeria and Niger. The word means to bewitch or bring bad luck to, and it is then supposed that this was applied to these eerie-looking rocks. Hoodoos are formed over millions of years by weathering and erosion. Bryce Canyon, because of its elevation, has 200 days a year where the weather is both above and below freezing in the same day. Water from rain or melted snow seeps into the rocks, and when it freezes again, it expands and causes something called ice wedging. These formations start as plateaus, and over time they break down into walls, windows, and then eventually hoodoos. Pay particular attention to the sequence coming. I am about to have a moment of blithe inattention that gives me a scare.
Hoodoo. Hoodoo. I love to say hoodoo. I love to say hoodoo. I love to say hoodoo.
Pay close attention to your footing on this trail. I almost did a hoodoo down the hill. It wasn't that close, but it was close enough to make me pay attention. This could be one of my favorite hikes of the trip. I'm only just started, but I'm starting to have that feeling already that it could be one of my favorites. I just love the scenery. I love the hoodoos. Hoodoo! Hoodoo. It's the best word ever. It's currently 73. The temperature is just amazing, beautiful. Sort of a cloudy sky, so it's not that the sun isn't beating down. It's just the perfect day for a hike here. Here's a fun tidbit. Bryce Canyon isn't technically a canyon, but a series of amphitheaters or bowls which are carved into the Ponsigat Plateau. Here we go through the tunnel. This is so cool. The Bryce Amphitheater, which we are now hiking, is the largest. It's 12 miles long, 3 miles wide, and 800 feet deep. And we'll be feeling 643 of those feet when we later climb the switchbacks up to the rim. I believe we're getting close to a place on the trail where I had some confusion. But in hindsight, I can explain this so you won't have to be confused, dear Gugu-Gee-ans.
So this is the end of the trail. But how do you get to Sunset Point?
Okay, allow me to explain. The Queen's Garden Trail is not a loop. It's an out-and-back trail which culminates with a hoodoo that looks like the English Queen Victoria. There is also the Navajo Loop Trail, which is indeed a loop with a lot of switchbacks up and down. There is a Navajo Queen's Garden combo loop hike, which is supposed to be this. But I can't for the life of me find anything in my brain feed about what this section is supposed to be called, as it's neither Navajo nor Queen's Garden. Be that as it may, the ranger suggested doing a further variation. Instead of going up the switchback trail that will present itself to your right, instead choose the trail that leads to Wall Street to your left. Wall Street is spectacular. Also a steep switchback, but well worth it. Does that all make sense now?
That tree is holding up that hoodoo. Hoodoo. Actually, that may not be a hoodoo. It's more like a rock, but I just like saying hoodoo.
Somebody got tuckered out on the path. Not sure if it's the dad or the child.
Somebody told me I should smell the trees. It said it smelled a little like butterscotch, and it does smell a little like butterscotch. How can that be? Wow. I don't think they make butterscotch from trees, do they? Are those butterscotch trees?
Alrighty, let's talk more about these fantastic trees. The Pinus Ponderosa is one of the Southwest's tallest trees, which can live up to 600 years. Mature trees have a yellow to rusty orange bark in broad plates. Young trees have a blackish brown bark. They are just delicious. I want to eat them.
Reminds me, it would be good to have an ice cream sundae about now. So, the fork in the road. That's where we came from. And that's one way to go. That will take you to the switchback up to Sunset Point, but we want to take the same sort of thing to Wall Street. And then the advice I got from the ranger was that both ways will take you up, but that Wall Street was the more scenic / spectacular of the two. Overheard on the trail. Okay, serious question. Why are crocs popular again? I thought that died like 5 or 6 years ago. Refer to brain feed for Crocs. Shoes. Is it Wall Street because of all the walls of rocks?
This combo hike is 3.2 miles, and you will be climbing a 643-foot elevation.
All right. All right, Park Ranger. Great idea.
It is moderately difficult, in my opinion. If your human body is 18, it might be easy.
Wow. Wow. Just gorgeous. Okay. That's what we're looking at for the last bit. We can do this.
The climb took my breath away, but I just took it at my own pace. Stopped a few times to catch my breath. It was completely worth it.
This is an awesome family I met along the way. And what are your names?
We're the Steads.
Seth from Indianapolis.
So nice to meet you on the hike up from that steep place, Steds.
Yes. You've got Isabel, Polly, Mark, Lydia, and Isaac.
Well, thanks for being my friend today. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Thank
so
you.
nice to meet you.
Nice talking
Hike.
to you. Absolutely.
Yes, I walked up from there.
Just walking along the rim trail.
Next stop, as outlined by my ranger friend, I took a short drive to Bryce Point for another beautiful lookout.
Just when you think it can't get any better.
Let's talk for a moment about that alternate etymology for hoodoos that came up in my brain feed. The southern Paiute people have a word,
Hoodoo.
udu, that means scary or spirit. In their oral tradition, the hoodoo rocks are legend people who were turned into rock by Coyote, the trickster god, as punishment for their wickedness. So that may in fact be the origin of hoodoo. It's odd that I couldn't get a definitive answer on that.
Their shoes will get dirty on the hikes. I had another half of a sandwich. It tastes so good right now.
And I'm now taking the short drive to Paria View. Look at this little tree, just growing there. Do you see it? Little tiny tree.
Some sort of trail down there. I've only seen 4 people since I walked down this little short path. Beautiful. Sometimes it's nice to be alone, to have something to yourself. I know that this seems to be what everybody is striving for, to be alone, to get a exclusive access to a park or a beautiful spot. And that is nice sometimes. I enjoy that. But other times, it's nice to be with humans, to meet humans. I like humans. We had a rocky start. As you may recall from earlier episodes, I came to this planet as a parasitic worm, and I was given a body by soldiers at Area 51 and treated very well there for a time. I was given the body of a fallen soldier who was in his 20s, who had given up his body for scientific research. Then my friends put me into a hibernation chamber for 32 years, which didn't work. It was broken, and I aged 32 years instead of staying young and thin. The feeding tube was also broken. So I'm making the most of it because now I really do enjoy humans, and I just need to stay away from the people from Area 51, that's all.
The last leg of the trip was just a short drive. You go out of the park, but then you drive back in.
So this is the final recommendation today from the ranger, which is this short little Mossy Cave trail. I think it's outside of the park, or at least the road to it is outside of the park. One of the truly delightful sounds of the earth is running water from a babbling brook or flowing river. This is the perfect ending to this day. All right, I'm going to say something. This may be my favorite day since I began my camping journey west. This may be my favorite day. I just love Bryce Canyon. I met a lot of interesting, nice humans on the way. And it's truly one of the most beautiful places I've encountered so far. It seems like there's maybe if you go under the bridge, you will end up at this waterfall over here. There's not an obvious trail though. I'm wondering if there's more than one waterfall. I think the cave is that way, and going straight, I think we'll see the top of that waterfall. Partially man-made. They redirected it to where they wanted to, and except for a severe drought in 2002, it has flowed continuously. Pioneers using primitive tools. Here we are, we're coming to it. We'll see if it's sufficiently adequately mossy. The good news is the trail back will be all downhill. That is literally and not figuratively. There's the Mossy Cave, and there's the moss. So, of this hike, Mossy Cave, fun little thing, but really the highlight is the running water and the waterfall, and just such a calming feeling at the end of the day. So we're going to go under the bridge and see the waterfall. I tripped and bloodied my knee, so I'm not going to go all the way to the waterfall. I'm going to go back to the car and wash my knee off. You just need to be careful sometimes, Gugu-Gee-ans, because your human bodies can break the skin, and it does hurt a little bit. Well, I am breaking my skin left and right the last couple of days. This one yesterday, and skinned knee and a little bit of skinned hand today. So even though I ended the day at Bryce Canyon National Park on a little bit of a bummer, it doesn't take away from the fact that it was perhaps my favorite adventure thus far. Just a beautiful, beautiful place.
Well, that's all for this week, Gugu-Gee-ans. Check in next week when we hike and wade the Narrows at Zion. By the way, very quickly, if you like the show, consider Buy Me a Coffee to help support the show. Buy Me a Coffee is a great way for creators and artists to accept one-time support or membership ongoing from their fans for the price of a coffee. Go to buymeacoffee.com/BrainFire to help the show. Thank you.
Take some coffee and some bagels and get out of here to where the weather is clear.